all spiffed up today. The hearing was last meeting, not this one.
You got my email forwarded from, I forwarded Craig Burgess's email to you.
From Homeland Security thing. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Hi there.
Hey, George. Tiffany, we can't see you.
Huh. Okay. Why is it not? Let's try it again here. Okay, there we go. Can you see me?
Okay, he said, can you see him?
How about now? See me yet?
No.
How about
You're
that?
good now.
Okay.
All right, thanks, George.
Okay, the time is now 1 o'clock. I'll call our October 17th meeting to order, and we'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item on the agenda is County Attorney Matt Shipman. The only thing I really have that that's really, I don't think it's on the radar, but I know as Amy is here, is just to get this waiver signed so that we can burn the debris. We came up with an agreement with the Thorn Creek Township Fire Department, and they're comfortable with the waiver that I put together, and I did get the trustee's signature line on it. The only other thing that that potentially you guys may have questions on is the surveyor designation of duties. The drainage board, I think, took action on that this morning. Don't think Dane has signed it yet, so maybe we might need to just do that later, or we should probably do it at the next meeting.
So
actually.
there was one project that would require a PE to sign off on it. So what I had mentioned to the other members is that we could make a motion to sign it with the caveat that Dane Drew.
Yeah, because Dane doesn't need to have a formal meeting to do anything.
Right.
He can just sign it whenever, and I know.
So he was supposed to stop in sometime today, I think, so.
Perfect, then we can do that too, but that's on the agenda later. I just, in case you guys have questions about it. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Okay, any questions for Matt? We'll move on. The next item on our agenda is Nathan Bilger with the Churubusco TIF resolution and comprehensive plan.
Good afternoon. Which item do you want to take first?
Let's start with the TIF.
Okay, we have Madeline St. Bartle and Lisa Smeltzer here from they can probably describe the request a little bit better than I can. Like to
Sure.
name them.
Would you mind coming forward?
Hello, so we are requesting, your approval to start a residential tip in an area that is not currently annexed by the town, but we are working on annexation. And in order to capture this year's, 4-acre assessment, we need to move forward before our annexation is done. It's for a new housing development that, is actually connecting to the existing Pressure Bridge, on the north side of town for Blue Lake. I think what else,
It's only 2 parcels,
only 2
correct?
parcels,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's,
So this is the existing housing addition. These are also going to be part of that new housing addition along with these 70-ish acres that we are currently working on. But we probably won't have annexation done until probably February, I'm guessing, and we get the tip district established by the end of the year. So we went to RDC last week and they approved it. So now we are coming to you to approve that.
Yep.
So that's,
is there
That's
one
just-
property owner, I'm assuming?
yeah, Kevin Biggs is developing all this. He owns all of it.
Okay.
So
I don't have an issue with it. Or
if you have any other questions, I can answer them or try to answer them.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
What's the resolution number on that, Tiffany?
2022.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-11.
A second.
And George is a second. So any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. We'll be doing a voice vote today because George is present but not in the room. So I'll start with Commissioner Trump,
Yes.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and I have an aye as well.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. The other item is a resolution adopting the amended and updated comprehensive plan that we've been working on for a little over 2 years now. And I'm sure you're well aware of what the process has been. We talked it over a few times. Obviously, you've been a part of it, George has too directly. And so this comes to you with a recommendation from the Plan Commission made a couple months ago. Any questions?
I think I forgot to ask you this. Was it passed unanimously?
At Plan Commission, no, it was not. It was a 6-2 vote.
question came up. I'm curious about something. Under the current comprehensive plan, class 1 CFO is permitted use. Class 2 would be special exception, but I believe in the language in the new comprehensive plan would change a class 2 CFO to permitted use. Is that right?
The comprehensive plans don't talk about classes, they talk about general sizes. So a moderate size DFO, which could be arguably the same as a class 2. Class 1, 2, 3, 4 are in the zoning code. So that's the statutory part. In the plan, it talks about small scale, moderate, and large scale. And generally speaking, it was intended and it should line up with the moderate scale being having additional standards applied to them. So special exception would be one of them. Doesn't go to the degree of saying that this is a special exception. No, it just says that this needs to be a secondary use, I believe is what
And
it's
that can
called.
be determined later, like plan commission could determine that later.
Correct. It can be determined, it could be determined that our current system of classes works out well to meet the comprehensive plan recommendations. It may need to be tweaked, it may be completely scrapped and revised. So somewhere in there, in between.
George, do you have any comment on the comprehensive plan?
Oh, he's self-muted.
I think maybe you're self-muted, George.
I have, okay. I have the same concern that you do, Chad, on that with the class 1, 2, and 3. But I guess, Nathan, the question was asked, how do we determine whether it's, when you're saying, what was it, moderate, or what was that you were saying?
So I was saying that the comprehensive plan in text talks about just general sizing, so small, moderate, and large. And then it does make some reference back in the definitions for matter of reference that the sizes do line up with those classes, but it's not an absolute thing. As Commissioner Banks was saying, that's still open for further refinement and redefinition as code revisions come forward. But for everyone's reference, the sizes do approximately line up with the class size.
And we expect the codes to be revised after this is passed.
When the plan commission and staff are ready to do so. So right now, I think everyone wants to take a little bit of a breather and then start examining what needs to be redone immediately in 2022.
Do you want to just talk a little bit about the changes made to the land use plan or zoning maps?
So the existing comprehensive plan, which dates from 2011, has a land classification map, which is very, very detailed and very somewhat confusing because it can easily be interchanged with a zoning map. And that led to, and some naming overlaps led to confusion between the two. What I've used the analogy of is that plan, that land use map seems to be, if you were flying it to say 5,000 feet, you can definitely tell individual land uses pretty easily. In order to address some of that and change how the plan commission makes interpretations and commissioners then make your interpretations, the new one, the new future land use map changes it more to a character-based format. Still important for land use, but it's more of what does it look like, not so much exactly what the land use is. So you're going from about a 5,000 foot level up to 20,000 foot or so. You can definitely see where there's distinct deviations from surrounding land uses. So say a factory among agricultural field would definitely stand out. But Joe Smith's auto repair shop, for example, that's amongst that cornfield, you can tell that from any other house. So that, whereas the current comprehensive plan would likely say that's a commercial use. So it brings it up, and then it also changes a few things. There were some modifications in here to extend a few areas that were deemed to be more likely to be developed, to have more development in the next 15 to 20 years, a few areas that were more questionable. And of course, everything as time goes on is open for interpretation and building upon as development occurs. Largely, the agricultural areas are very similar to what the current comprehensive plan is, and most of the description is very similar. Not the same, but it's similar. And most of the changes were in that what would potentially get developed and how soon areas. So the mixed rural areas, Jefferson Township and around the lakes, north of Columbia City.
Okay, thank you. So there's a resolution number for this. It's 2022-12. How would we like to move forward?
George, do you have anything to add just overall?
Well,
Um,
I think it's a good plan overall. Again, nothing's ever perfect, but I think we still have zoning to go through in the BZA, but again, this is a guideline. And at this point, I think I'd like to make a motion that we approve 2022-12.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'll just add that it's been literally years in the making, and there have been many people who put a lot of time and effort into this, and yeah, it's been a very, very long road, and I think everyone's happy that we're finished, and I think most everyone is acceptable. They feel acceptable of it, so.
Call for the vote. Commissioner Schrum,
Yes.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
Commissioner Banks is an aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Nathan.
Item on the agenda, I have Ryan Smeltzer for the 2023 Wellness Committee.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of our Willie County Wellness Committee. Today, we'd like to request approval for our 2023 wellness program incentives. These are no changes to the incentives that were approved last year.
I don't have anything in my packet.
It was sent after the packet was emailed. We had to forward it on from Carly.
This might be why it wasn't included.
This is you earn points and get a reduced price on your.
On your premium discount period, yes. Yeah. So this would be for the upcoming year, and then those deductions will then take effect.
I don't have any questions.
Jennifer Shinneberry, do you have anything to add on this? It's not really something that you don't manage this, right? Okay. Managed by the committee? Is that who oversees this?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. No. Curious who manages it.
That'd be a Carly LaRue. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2023 wellness incentives for the employees.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And then I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Schrum,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger.
Aye.
And I'm all as well. Thank you, Ryan.
All right, thank you.
Can you trace the whole thing right down? People can't hear you online.
Next item on the agenda is the surveyor designation of duties. this is something that we're familiar with. We've done this, we did this when our previous engineer left. And so it's something that we're certainly familiar with.
I'll make a motion that we sign it with the caveat that the surveyor signs it before we do and has a chance to look at it.
So the final approval on the way of the signature would be pending his approval. Okay,
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing that, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Trump,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
I as well. Do you think he's coming today?
I know that he is out in the fields right now. He was going to try to make it in. I would imagine he'll be in sometime this week.
He's probably very busy.
Yes.
Right. The next item on our agenda is IT project discussion. So in our packets, we had kind of a comparison. We've met with and talked to Fort EOS and Tricor. We're currently contracted with Preferred IT. And I would just personally like to see us continue to move in a forward direction with where we're going. Personally, I feel very comfortable with Fort EOS. And not only our conversations with them, but also their conversations that they've had with department heads. And of course, their pricing comes in at an anticipated savings of $63,000 a year. But we also believe that Fort EOS will find ways to cut down on some other pricing as well. So I guess what I would be hoping for, or what I'm looking for, is just maybe a nod of approval today to move forward in contract negotiations with Fort EOS.
I'll make a motion for contract negotiations with Fort EOS.
I have a motion. George?
Second.
I have a second from George. Any further discussion? And I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Trump,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and I am not as well. Next up on the agenda is lease rental revenue bonds.
I'm going to pull mine up on my email because it was so large. It was not printed out.
John, we appreciate the work that you put into this. And I hate to put you on the spot, but I know that you have valuable information that we could share in the meeting. If you wouldn't mind just talking a little bit about what this is and why we're doing this.
So this really has to do with the bond issue and the sale of bonds. And typically, the financial institution has capacity to handle that and has an interest in it, has the clientele to handle the actual sale of the bonds themselves. There were 5 different submissions that came through to Whitley County, and those banks are domiciled kind of all over the country. We have one from the Bank of Oklahoma, one from Regions Bank, which has a big presence in Indiana. I think Marion being the closest one here, but they're actually domiciled in Alabama. Old National Wealth Management is really a company out of Evansville, Indiana. U.S. Bank and Trust Company is a national bank, which is huge. Its headquarters is in Minnesota, and then Zions Bank, which is actually a bank out of Utah. And in looking at all of those and their capacity to handle them, there are actually 3 banks of the 5 that would handle those out of the Indianapolis market, that being Regions, Old National, and the Bank of Oklahoma. Bank of Oklahoma's been in Indianapolis for about 3 years. Total asset size is around $50 billion. The largest one, to show you how attractive these bonds are to banks. When you get a bank like US Bank, looking at a relatively small rural county, it shows you how solid the banks are and what a good reputation actually the county has, because US Bank is actually a $573 billion bank. And so it is really, it's really bodes well for, I think, for the county. The bank that leads, I think, in overall handling of this is probably the Bank of Oklahoma. They currently supervise projects in Sullivan County and Wabash County. Like I said, they do have capacity. They certainly have interest, and so they were the ones I think that kind of came through as being the leader in at least out of these 5 banks. And for a local bank to handle those, it's really not something they would handle directly. It may be that the Bank of Oklahoma contacts either Lake City Bank or Star Financial Bank, because they are the only other existing over $1 billion banks operating in the county. That being Star with about $2 billion of assets, Lake City with about $6 billion of assets. When you start looking going on from there, all of these other banks are way larger and do this more directly than you would have with either one of those. But like I said, I did notify them over 90 days ago, so they were totally aware. Their wealth management division, which is typically handles all of these investments for the banks, their wealth management divisions would be in touch with Bank of Oklahoma regions or whomever it might be that you choose. And then they work out the terms and conditions. The basic things that are presented here are their overall plan to do this, and it doesn't get into the minutia of what investment strategies individuals may have on this. So I think in looking at all of that, probably my recommendation, I should say probably, would be the Bank of Oklahoma through their Indianapolis exchange.
Just for the general awareness, John Lefevre is on our building corporation. So he's been actively involved, and I will say that I'm just very grateful for you, John, just all the work that you poured into it and the work you continue to do for the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a decision. After reviewing it for myself, I feel very comfortable with Bank of Oklahoma. I know, George, you've expressed a level of comfort with them as well in an earlier email. I think you and I had an earlier conversation. So I think we just need to kind of make that official and then report back to Baker Tilly and Max Miller.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. They have the lowest fees and none of our local banks bid on it. The closest one, I believe, was out of Evansville, that is out of Indiana. So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't choose Bank of Oklahoma. So I'll make a motion that we move forward with our lease rental revenue bonds with the Bank of Oklahoma.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Frump,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. Okay, next item on the agenda is a facility request. There's a request for, from Jeff Herendine, Fire Department, is that right? Fire Department and EMT. The organization is the Columbia City Fire Department. I should have just read it. It's for the Christmas candy giveaway. So I'm assuming this is Christmas Eve.
Fairly certain it's Christmas Eve.
Okay, I'm shaking your head, yes.
Done that forever. Used to be Bob Engel was Santa and he would pass out candy, bags of candy.
I'll make a motion that we approve the facilities request as presented.
Second.
And I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing that, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Trump,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well.
Here's that form for the burn
Yep.
debris thing.
I believe, Amy, weren't you added to our agenda? Okay.
We'll call you up next.
Thank you for accommodating last minute addition. All right, so I come before you today just to seek permission for signature of the waiver, or what we would identify as a whole harmless agreement, which we consulted with Matt Shipman to draft for us. This pertains to the Northern Heights Elementary School location where all the debris from the derecho storm mid-June is still located. We've been working collaboratively with the Whitley County Highway Department and school officials to try to come up with a plan for that removal. The best plan is currently in place because all other options are really ineffective as far as cost management, is to actually burn those piles down to a point where they can be dispersed and collected. We have applied for a permit through the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and we expect approval for that to happen on any day. It was actually checked on Friday, and they had hoped to give us approval yet today, but I haven't received that yet. We are coordinating with Thorn Creek Township Fire Department to make sure that we can isolate that area effectively and control the burns as best as we can. One of our hindering factors is the weather. You know, we have had red flag warnings as far as burning restrictions in place for the last several weeks. In addition, we've had some additional rain, so that hinders our ability to effectively remove it from the burn process. Right now, we would be looking at the week of fall break, if we can get some dry conditions and the wind cooperates with us. So that anticipating time frame would be October 27th and the 28th. That's a Thursday, Friday. That coordinates with the school who happens to be out on fall break, so there would be no students or staff that would have to be present for anything at their location. If that does not work, we're looking probably into November and December as potential timeframes to be able to have that. I'd like to express our sincere appreciation to Whitley County Consolidated Schools, all the efforts that they've extended to us and keeping that on site since June. That's a big, partnership to go into that with. So I'd like to personally and professionally thank them for their, extending that time frame to us. But we have the waiver before us. We collaborated with Bill Bryce, who is a Thorn Creek Township trustee. He reviewed the document. He had no concerns. We also have coordinated with Doug DeWitt, who's the Thorn Creek Township Fire Chief, and he as well has no concerns with the waiver as it's listed. Happy to entertain any questions that you may have regarding that waiver or the current debris management plan we have in place.
I don't. I know we've talked about it a lot, so I'm glad that we're gonna put it to rest and get it removed. So I'll make a motion that we approve Chairman Biggs. Is it just for us to sign the waiver for the burn pile?
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Trump,
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger,
Aye.
I'm aye as well. And I will echo Amy and our appreciation for WCCS collaboration. Very grateful to the school corporation for allowing us to house our debris.
All right, thank you so very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
And next item on the agenda is payroll and accounts payable claims approval.
I had a chance to look at payroll and accounts payable. There were no issues or concerns. So I will make a motion to approve payroll.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second to approve payroll. Commissioner Trump. Call for the vote. Commissioner Trump.
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger.
Aye. I will also make a motion to approve accounts payable.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Call for the vote. Commissioner Trump.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up on the agenda is our previous meeting minutes. These will be from October 3rd of 2020.
I'd make a motion to approve the October 3rd, 2022 minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Trump.
Aye.
Commissioner Basinger.
Aye.
And I'm as well. Is there anything that anyone would like to add to today's meeting from the audience, from the general public? Nope. Do you have anything?
No.
Commissioner Trump?
Nothing. Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Basinger?
Nothing.
I have nothing to add. I'll adjourn the meeting.
Here, we have the minutes.